He's not going to giggle. And the consequences may be devastating. And so what you have in Confucianism, or in any good mature relationship, even if times are good, refrain from being too casual. Do not cross certain lines. Keep some distance between yourself and your companion. You don't have to say every goddamn thing to him or her. Now, you may love your husband and he may love you, but in bad times, he or she will take your secrets and will use them against you. Okay? Have a thick skin. Keep your stuff to yourself. Okay? You have a lot of garbage? Seek therapy. Write in your journal. Don't tell it to your husband or your wife. They're not your therapist. They're not your friends. Life is a long, long journey. Make sure the engine is good. I bought this bike. The bike has no suspension, front or back. So whenever I go on a bump, I feel the bump, my entire body. By the time when I get home, I'm just in pain. But then I got this nice bike. It has 50,000 different suspensions everywhere. And sometimes I go through black holes and I don't even experience them. Your companion needs to have good suspensions, that they can be okay with the bumps, with the difficulties of life. Okay? Now, the woman must always obey the man. But let me change that up a little bit. There are two forces inside us. The feminine, the masculine. Passions and rationality. Never be guided by passions. Let your rationality be your guru. Let it be the flashlight. Let it guide you, direct you. Do not be deceived by the way someone looks, someone speaks. Always check the engine. So when you go out on a date, you don't have lots of time on your hand. Life is short. Tradition is there for one reason. Tradition are your stepping stones. Life is short. You don't have the luxury of experimentation. Look, I love going to the snow. When I was younger, going to the Yosemite, right before you get to Curry Village or Pine Valley during winter, there is this huge empty space. And wintertime, snow covers everywhere. And like the hero that most of us like to think of ourselves, you get out of your car, put on your boots, your heavy jackets, and you go to this empty space and you look around and you say, someone walked there yesterday and someone walked the day before. I want my own footsteps, my own imprints. So you walk on the clean ice, a path that no one has ever taken before. and you put your foot in, and you go in knee deep. It's beautiful, you say to yourself. Then you put your left foot, you go in waist deep with a tremendous amount of energy. You lift your right leg, you put it in, you go in chest deep. You've only taken 5 steps. And then you say, do I really want to go all the way over there? It's like 5 miles away. You say, I can't do this. I'll probably have a stroke and die right in the middle of the snow. You backtrack. And then you begin to put your feet on the prints that others have made for you. And the nice things about other prints is the following. Those fresh snows that had the footprints have now turned into frozen ice. They are solid. Now you can simply walk on the snow, on the ice, and you'll get to your destination in 10 minutes. That's the beauty of tradition. It's a shortcut. It's not exciting. I had a friend, he called himself Robin Hood. In the 1960s and 70s, he inherited $1 million. There was no one decent in his life to tell him, guide him, make him think. Listen, you can buy a nice house for $50,000 in Piedmont, $200,000. You can buy a nice car for $10,000. You will pay the whole thing off in 2 weeks. Then put the money, the rest of it, in a savings account. It'll come in handy when you get to be 60, 70. The government can't play with your money anymore. They can't take your house away. You're not going to be fearful of losing your job. But no one told him those things. So you know what he did? He allowed the feminine, the creative, the passionate part to take over. He coked $1 million of his money. He became addicted to cocaine. He lost everything. And at the age of 50, he has nothing. And now he's probably 62, 63 now. Marriage is about tradition. When you read the Old Testament, you don't have sex because you're bored. You don't have sex because you love. You don't have sex because it's pleasurable. You have sex for one reason: to have a child. The child will civilize you. It will straighten out your priorities. It will mature you. You may not like it because we are governed by sloth. We are governed by lust. And the child will place in you care, love, compassion, worries that you never thought you could ever feel and have inside you. Marriage. That's the foundation of Confucianism. Why? Because when you marry for one reason: family, children. Who the hell is going to take care of you when you get old and sick? Especially in America. Do you really have money to put yourself in a good nursing home where the nurses, the people working there, will treat you with respect? Do you have the money, about $10,000, $15,000 a month? And nobody has children because they're fun. Children are your savings account. Not so much financial savings accounts, but physical savings accounts. Schopenhauer, the cranky German philosopher, had once said that women like men only for one reason: children. They never love a man just to love a man. They love a man because they want to have children. So in terms of relationship, let's go back very quickly for those of you in this room. Take your companions to an elder, someone who's wise, insightful, reflective. Let those people ask the right questions. That's checking under the hood. Let them see if your companion has any dark spots within, unprocessed experiences or traumas that could cause difficulties in the future. Life is problematic enough. You don't want to add more to the crappiness of life by bringing in someone to your life that will cause you more headache. Okay? This is not foolproof, by the way. There are no guarantees. But we do the best we can. Now, always in a relationship, whether with yourself or another, always allow the rational, the masculine heart of you take charge. Always. Never give in to passion. You will be led astray. Children, once you have kids, this is what you must realize. Your children are with you for only a short while. They will eventually become members of society. Protect your family name. Protect your last name. My last name is Sabzevari. In Iran, when we played soccer on dirt roads, at the end of our street, there was a market. Me and 5 or 6 other guys would go. We were only 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. We would go to the guy, the owner, and we would say, "My name is Amir Sabzevari. We live down the road. My father is Mr. Nasser Sabzevari. When he comes, he'll pay you. I want 5 Pepsis and 5 cupcakes." The guy says, "No question asked, fine." And then my father would come home, say, "Dad, we got," my father would go. Either at the end of the day, or the week, or the month. Your last name. See, my first name, Amir, specific to a specific individual, me, has been around for only 57 years. Sabzevari, on the other hand, We go all the way back to Hajj Mullah Hadi Sabzavari, 9th century. Sufi philosopher from the city of Sabzavar. You can own your first name, but your last name doesn't belong to you. You have inherited. It's been in your community for hundreds of years. You don't want to bring shame to your last name. Okay? So, what should you do when you have children? Certainly love your kids. Certainly have them love you. You're not their friends. Do not be casual with them. As Machiavelli suggested, let them fear you. Not hate you, but let them fear you. Because when they fear you, they will respect you. And they will respect you by doing what you tell them to do. And why is it that children should always listen to their parents? Let me make it personal. You see, Diana, forgive me, I asked her, are you going to do your master's degree? She says no. I come from a third world. I know that sometimes men can be despicable. And as a woman, you better have power in today's society. If you don't have financial power, have intellectual power. Go to school. Get your master's degree. Just in case your relationship fails, you have a savings account. No one can take that away from you. How many years do I have advantage over her? 30. What language am I using to communicate my worries to her? Simple. Diana, do your master's. It's 2 years. You're going to waste it, at least waste it on school. It's uninteresting, I know. It's boring, I know. But you will reap the benefits. And you know what she says? I will think about it. Why does she say that? She likes me, but she doesn't respect me. She doesn't respect me because she doesn't fear me. You know why? I am not involved in her life. This for Diana is a one-night relationship. And my experience, insights, and wisdoms, if I have any, they're completely useless. You know why? She won't listen. You know, my sister went to UOP and she became a pharmacist. And she got married to a dentist. For the past 22 years, she's been a stay-at-home mom. Should anything happen to my brother-in-law, who is a great guy, is a saint, should anything happen to him, she will go back to work. You know why? And you know how? She has a degree. And pharmacists these days, they're profoundly financially secure. Now, what happens when you raise your kids in an environment where it's healthy? And when kids listen, my sister is raw in the sense that she is quite harsh. And because the kids fear her, love her, and fear her, the oldest, Arman, he goes to NYU. He's finishing up his master's degree. He's only 22. Her daughter, Kiana, just got accepted to Brown, doing her master's degree. Everything paid for. Why? First, they are immigrants. What does it mean to be an immigrant? If you take the Old Testament account that we have been expelled from the Garden of Eden, that this is not our home, all of us in this class are immigrants. And you know what happens if you're an immigrant? You are in an unfriendly territory. Life will demolish you. It'll exploit you. It will use you as a Duracell battery and then trash you. What must immigrants do? They secure their physical life. They live in a community. Look at the way people live in South America when they come here. They're like a pack. You know, you go to Home Depot, you see people from Hispanic origins, Guatemalans. They're looking for work. They all gather together. And about 12, their wives or their companions come. The trunk opens and there is food for everyone. That's the immigrant lifestyle. You and I are immigrants. We can't survive on our own. When you have children, you give them community. That community creates psychological health, emotional health. It anchors their physical body. I have a home. And your kids will go out. You will go on trips. You will stay in motels. But there comes a point where you say, I just want to go home. I miss being home. And the problem with being parents is the following. The moment you have a child, you become as a parent a sacrificial lamb. You will sacrifice your life, your pleasures for the well-being of your child. You don't have to be a Jesus Christ. You don't have to be a Muhammad. You battle society. You battle your environment to keep the innocence of your children. To make sure they are mentally healthy, emotionally healthy. They don't suffer any traumas. Confucianism makes you and I responsible for our physical life. He doesn't care about your spirit. And if he does, Spiritual life lives in a good, healthy physical life. Why the hell would you want to go to church and pray to God when you can call your children, when you can call your parents? Going to God is the last stage where your parents can no longer help you, where your friends can no longer help you, where your community can no longer help you. Okay? So, let's go back very quickly. Bullet number 1. If you want to get married, check the engine. Ask the right questions. And the right question is the following. How's your mom? How's your dad? How long they've been married? Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you watch porn? Do you have any addictions? Did you go to school? Do you make money? Do you have a job? Even having a stable job means there is a sense of responsibility living inside you. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that just because you may not have some of those components, that you have a lot of trash inside you. That's not the suggestion. All of us are repairable, either through ourselves or another. All I'm suggesting is it just makes life easier if things inside you are healthy. That's all. Once you get married, your addiction to individualism must go away. As an individual, you no longer have any rights. You belong to a pack. You belong to a team. It's called your husband, your wife, and your children. Armand, my nephew, my sister's son, has a friend. They've been friends since childhood. His friend now lives in Texas. He bought a truck for $40,000. He works at a golf course. He's about 22 now. Didn't graduate school. He smokes. He drinks. He's a nice kid. I feel sad for the woman who walks into his life. He just doesn't have the maturity. And his parents, because they're American, his mother told him, he's 18 now, he can make his own decisions. How can you, at the age of 18, sit behind the wheel of life and just drive? You can never just have one child. It's criminal. As a father or a mother, you should know that you will die. Friends are not dependable. Your son or your daughter needs a companion in life's journey. It's called a sibling, a brother or a sister. The more, the better. For those of you in this class who are an only child, my recommendation is, if you don't have already, create one good friendship that's solid. That friendship, just in case your parents are gone or not there, that friendship becomes your Peter. It becomes your rock. You can stand on it in times of difficulties. The problem with friendships is that they demand time. They demand trust. And it must contain traditional values. Where I live, there is this 13, 14-year-old girl who walks. I think her father is a preacher. Maybe her mother is as well, I don't know. But she smokes every time she walks past the house. Weed, I mean. And I know it's fashionable these days, you know. But sometimes I wonder, you know, having a preacher father and a preacher mother perhaps, you know. What sort of lessons are being taught at the house? Let me also confess that it's enormously difficult to raise kids in this culture. After a while, you just give up. Okay? Now, when you have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, there must be this harmony within the children. And it involves the following. The younger kids must always listen and respect the commands of the elders, older kids. I don't know how that works if you have a sister who's like 5 and you happen to be 3. I don't know if a 5-year-old has much wisdom. You know? But if they've been trained well, you know, a 5-year-old comes home and through discipline, she's told, pick up your stuff, take him to the room, or laundry room, or this or that. When she sees a 3 or a 4-year-old just throw stuff everywhere, she'll mimic. Remember, you don't have to understand tradition. You just need to follow it. Now, some of you may be crazy enough to say, well, I don't need to raise my hand and ask a question. I'm inspired to ask a question. And all of a sudden, 20 people ask questions at the same time. And what you have is chaos. Just follow the goddamn tradition. Raise your hand. And when you're called upon, then ask your question. You don't have to challenge everything. Socrates is wrong. The examined life is not worth living. Be blind to tradition, to rituals. Follow them. If your parents say stay in school, God damn it, stay in school. If your parents say, dump this guy, dump him. If they say, don't smoke, don't smoke. And if you don't listen, you deserve some physical reprimands. These, of course, is difficult. Okay? Now, once the kids, why don't we continue with the rest tomorrow? Since, it's late. You're all tired. It's good to see all of you. Stay safe, stay well. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Now there, you're good. Don't worry. You too. Thank you. Thank you.